Check It is a project that offers information on effects, dangers, and risk reduction in clubs and raves, and also via the internet. Check It is actually based in Vienna, but in the last couple of years we also tried to be present in some of the provinces at a couple of huge raves. We reach about 270 people a night on average, and up to 300 people in person at raves during a whole night, starting around 10 o'clock in the evening, lasting until 6 o'clock in the morning. We offer the chemical analysis of ecstasy and other psychoactive substances directly at raves with high quality analysis. I'm going to talk about that a bit later. On average, we get 75 pills a night and up to 110 pills, which is a maximum both for the chemical analysis for the toxicologists as well as for the people who are talking with the consumers and the potential consumers. Check It is also a scientific project. We managed to yield a lot of data on pill contents, on consumption patterns, and other fields of research, because we have direct connection to the people who consume, and the readily answer to our questions may be in person or via questionnaires. And finally, Check It developed into an important information and prevention factor for the Austrian population in general, because it raised a lot of interest and discussion. Here you can see the preparation for one of the nights. We usually have a couple of tents where we offer the information and the counseling, where we have information boards on the side. That's the place where we'll post the results of the analysis later on. Here you can see another premise. Nowadays we have some more modern tents. That was always a weakness, working with this rather nasty tents. That's if you walk through this one of these tents, you directly walk into the laboratory, and here you can see the setup of the laboratory. Professor Schmidt, who is the scientific director of the project and who was recently elected into the INCB, managed to put a laboratory that normally makes up a whole laboratory into 3 flight cases, which is a pragmatic prerequisite for doing such a program, because otherwise you would have to spend at least a day or 2 days before to set everything up and so on. That's how one of the concealing space would look like, even though that's only the preparation work. We don't take any pictures, or we tend not to take any pictures while raves are going on, because the potential consumers probably would not know why we're doing it and would be afraid of any pictures. Check It was founded in 1997 as a collaboration between the Verein Wiener Sozialprojekte, which is an organization that runs several projects in the fields of low threshold work, the toxicology unit of the General Hospital, University Hospital in Vienna, and the drug policy coordination. So from the very beginning on, it was a top-down approach, which is in opposite to most of the projects that, for example, developed in Germany, where there were mostly user groups. So this was a top-down approach. The project has always been financed by the city of Vienna, the larger part of the funding, and the Ministry of Health, both in times where we had a social government and in times where we have a conservative government. The Check It staff consists of one project manager, a scientific director, and 4 employees who make most of the work. And when we are present at raves, we have a group of between 10 and 15 psychologists and social workers that are paid for their work, as well as a group of 7 or 8 chemists, mostly people who are doing their final thesis with Professor Schmidt. What are the goals of Check It? At the very beginning, the most important goal was to reach a difficult-to-target scene. When Check It was founded in 1997, we were well aware that, as in all the other cities and countries of Europe, Vienna has new consumption patterns, new scenes and new problems as well. And we made the experience that these people, even so if they run into problems, just don't show up at the traditional counseling centers. Because we made this experience, we said to ourselves, okay, when they don't approach us, we have to find ways to approach them, to deliver them important information and to tell them about possible risk and dangers of substances. Which is the second goal of Check It, to spread factual information and to offer counseling services to the people who need that or want it. We also wanted to gain an overview about the market situation, because at this time we knew that people are consuming pills such as ecstasy, but we didn't know what they contain. We found that they contain a lot apart from MDMA. We wanted to warn against especially harmful substances, but that I mean substances that are being bought as ecstasy but contain totally different substances such as methamphetamine, atropine or PMA that we found recently. But by that I also mean substances that are very high dosed, and as we were reminded yesterday from George Ricordi, dosage makes a big difference for the people who are consuming. And finally, we wanted to yield reliable data on pill contents, consumption patterns, and other relevant fields of science and prevention. What about the legal background? Because I'm well aware that this is a major point of discussion in all countries who are offering pill testing. Check It can do what it does because it is a scientific project, because we are working with the head toxicologist of the city of Vienna and the General Hospital unit. It is a scientific project. And in the law, in the Suchtmittelgesetz, it is written down that people who have to work with illicit substances are allowed to do so. The second prerequisite is that we don't touch any pills. That's not necessary for the whole procedure. The user can, as I will show later, unscratch over sandpaper and do the whole procedure. We just have a couple of milligrams that are in a little bottle, so to say. And if we, by accident, would touch a pill, we would keep it with us and not give it back, because that would be, of course, a violation of the law. Third prerequisite is that we always had a very good understanding with the local police force. They treasure our approach. They know that it's preventive work that we are doing. They don't lay any special focus on our project. They're of course present at raves, but they do not stand next to our tents and look at the people who are approaching us. They wouldn't do anything against the project itself because it's on a good legal background, but they would of course have the possibility to look who's approaching us and afterwards ask them whether they have any narcotics with them. If they would do that, of course we had to close down our project, but because we always tried to have a very good understanding and succeeded in doing so, we never ran into any problems. I'd now like to tell you about the analytical procedure. At the very beginning, when consumers or potential consumers approach us, they come into a tent one by one to guarantee anonymity. Then the pills are documented in a very similar way as you're doing with the Danish project. Pills are weighed and pictures are taken with a digital camera. Then the visitors scratch over sandpaper and leave about 40 milligrams of a pill with us, with pills that have about 250, 220 to 300 milligrams. So it's a minor loss, if you want, for the potential users, and it's enough for a good quantitative and qualitative analysis. The analysis itself is done by a chromatographic system, by high pressure liquid chromatography, and we do that in a two-step procedure. In the first step, we only try to find out whether the pill contains any amphetamine or amphetamine derivatives. We do so because that just takes about 4 to 5 minutes, and we are able to tell whether it contains amphetamine, MDMA, or anything else, or whether the pill has additional substances. If we don't find amphetamine or amphetamine derivatives or any additional substances, we go on with the procedure by a system that is able to detect up to 1,000 psychoactive substances. This takes a bit longer. The procedure itself up to 16 or 17 minutes. That's the time it needs to say whether there is, for example, opiates or any other substances in the sample. And then we post the results within a time frame of 15 to 14 minutes. We post them anonymously. That means that the potential consumers get a number in the tent, and we post the result only by number. So you would have, I'll show you that later, we would have the board and that with a lot of papers posted there, and it says number 7, 63 milligram MDMA, for example. And then there would be the social workers and the psychologists, and explain these rather cryptic results to the people who approach us. That gives us another possibility to get in contact with the people. What you can see here is our sample tent where the people would come in. Do we have the laser pointer somewhere? Okay. You have the scale here. Attached to the scale is a camera. So we can measure the pills and take a picture at the same time. Here we have another scale where we weigh the sample of the pill, and we have a couple of notebooks here that are connected by wireless connection with the actual laboratory. So by the time they type in the result or the dimensions of the pill and so on, the laboratory in the background knows which pill they are going to bring. That's another picture of the sample tent. This is a view on one of the machines. The actual machines are down there. I'm not a chemist nor a toxicologist. I just can tell you that this is all necessary to perform HPLC analyses. We have 2 identical systems and another machinery here in the background that is the one that can identify up to 1,000 substances. Czechs did not buy these instruments. They belong to the General Hospital, and Professor Schmidt and his team are allowed to use this machinery outside of the hospital for free. What are the results that we yielded in the last 5 years? We reached about 5,000 potential consumers in person at raves. I told you we have about 300 people per night on average. We are present at raves between 5 and 7 times a year. That's a very low number, but if you look at the people we target directly, it's quite remarkable. And we have been testing more than 1,500 substances. We managed to warn against especially harmful substances, both directly at raves. I told you that we put out the results anonymously. In cases of especially harmful substances, such as PMA, we would also put out a picture and warn the audience with the help of the DJs and the organizers. We yielded a large amount of reliable data on demographic variables and consumption patterns. We learned about the dynamics of the black market in terms of content of bills, of the amount and logos, for example. And I regard this as very important. We managed to get several hundreds of articles in newspapers and magazines throughout Austria and other European countries, and had about 30 television appearances, all of which gave us the opportunity to talk about effects, dangers, and risks to a much larger population that we are able to reach on site at rates. And with the reputation and the credibility we gained through these projects, we managed to boost other activities, such a website where we have a lot of information, where we have a talk base where people who consume or don't consume can exchange their views. And we also have a database where we would publish all results after half a year after we tested all the pills, because that's the time frame where the pills we originally tested are no longer on the market, and that's just to show what we are doing and to give people an idea. It's also a way to attract the interest of people. That's the same with pill testing itself. The main reason for doing it is to attract the interest of people.